We starting?
I think we are.
I don't know. Are we?
So you know, America, the United States military put out a game for recruitment purposes. They were really clear about it as recruitment purposes. It was called America's Army.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ISIS did the same thing for recruitment. They put out a video game for recruitment.
America's Enemy?
No, ISIS. The game was called "Let's All Rape the Same Woman and Then Die."
Oh.
Guess it worked pretty well for a while. They had a lot of people going over there. So,
I mean,
is that's how you win the game?
that's what it was called. I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me, but
it's a little wordy.
yeah. Well, I don't think they make a lot. I don't think they make a lot of.
Wait, can you repeat the title?
Let's all rape the same woman and then die.
Okay.
Lartsand? Lartsand?
It starts off okay, and then just yeah, consonants.
Let's all. That's the only part that's okay. Let's all. The third word is not okay. All right, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Two Guns, No Ammunition. Billy Two Guns. We are No Ammunition. We are having a lean show today. Chris is
dead.
Well, he's something.
R.I.P.
I think he's...
pretty much.
I think he's gone into a state of suspended animation.
Maybe he'll emerge as a beautiful butterfly.
Wouldn't that be nice? Not Chris. The robot and Liesler.
Frank.
The dynamic duo.
Yeah. Frank's busy getting ready for class. They never stop studying. It is so fucking annoying. All they do is learn. And then Liesler's working. So you have us, the trio. So I'm Big Billy. Let's see. I'm wearing a shirt that says this guy needs a beer. I don't know where I got it.
Ironic.
You might have swiped it from me by mistake.
Betrayal.
I'm Jake. We're going in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Because, ladies last. And I had that shirt at one point.
That's why lady starts with an L.
This is 100% your shirt then.
I need it back right now. Because I'm not wearing a shirt.
Only acceptable if you wear it on top of the clothes you're already wearing.
I'm not wearing any clothing. You know this.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm Porky Piggy.
Because my only shirt was stolen.
It's the only shirt you have says this guy needs a beer.
And that fish shirt.
Yeah, the fish shirt that we all
That
love.
was stolen too.
Someone broke into your house and stole
all your shirts.
Clothes. And nothing else. I still have my recording equipment, my computer, my bed.
Well, that stuff.
It would have been pretty impressive if they swiped the bed, though. They wouldn't have had time to get anything else.
I got robbed. They took my bed and all my shirts.
It's a king-size bed. We needed to squeeze that thing up the steps because the one ceiling hangs too low.
Oh my god!
Like that's a commitment.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to move this bed. It might stay here.
I gave somebody a couch, one of my buddies, like a year ago, maybe 2, and to get it into his apartment, I had to take apart the railings in the apartment complex to get it in there, and we still broke the couch. Like, I heard wood splinter.
Oh my god!
And I looked at him. I'm like, "We got it in. It's never coming out." And he's like, "Yeah, it's this. This is where this couch dies." Like,
no. There was a whole other part of that where it involved cutting the back of the couch out.
the cloth part.
Yeah. But so it would fit around the railing that was already loosened because we couldn't take it all the way off. So there's this giant hole in the back of this broken couch in your friend's apartment.
Okay,
Wow.
so the point was that it got there and it's going to die there.
Sounds like it wasn't worth it.
No, he's got a couch now for free, so there you go.
And he's still there.
All right, introduce yourself.
I'm Genevieve. I yell a lot.
Oh, that is true. We have been talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out she gets really stoked when she has a punchline, no matter the quality of it. So when we're in the car and she thinks of one, there's an explosion to my right. I'm like, what are you talking about? So oftentimes she'll set up the joke in her own head and scream the punchline at me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty frightening.
That's amazing.
To be fair, you have your sound beyond sound abilities.
Yeah, but you see that coming. Okay.
I didn't last time.
So let's... there's three of us. I think we've got plenty to talk about, but get ready for a different kind of show. I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't know how organized it's going to be. But here's something I wanted to talk about. This is technology. Fastbuch. Fastbuch exists, right?
Yes, Fastbuch.
And
Can you spell that?
they had the Farmvilles,
yes.
by the way. Who was I? Was I talking to you? No, I was talking to
Doesn't matter.
Paz, friend of the podcast. He loves Farmville.
He still plays it?
He used to love it. Anyway, here's the headline for you. Cat filter derails Pakistani politicians' live streamed press conference. So this happened in June. But a Pakistani official was being streamed on Facebook Live, and somebody, quote unquote, accidentally turned on the cat filter. So he looks adorbs. I really think if more politicians
filters are really
did this, then people would be less angry. But there you go.
really come a long way.
Yeah, little whiskers, cute little pink ears.
What a cutie. What a cutie pie.
Aww.
Wowee.
But it from what I read, it went the entire length. It went for the whole conference.
Until the end.
Was it a static camera? Did it just stay on him the whole time? Because the filter would have been jumping around, right?
I'm pretty sure it did. I think it was just him talking.
Oh my God.
Senator Cat.
Well, it's good to see some representation in the cat community.
Yeah.
Maybe that was his way of, identifying as cat.
I just worry about their evil tendencies, milking into
Cats, not Pakistanis.
Yes.
Yes.
Obviously.
No,
Obviously.
cats. Definitely cats.
Speaking of cats.
Evil tendencies, seeping into our, domestic and ethically pure political system.
Exactly.
I'm very concerned about it.
Cats are...
Has everyone seen the trailer for the new Cats movie that's coming out?
Stop it. What?
The musical?
I'm aware of its existence. I haven't seen
No.
Oh.
It looks real good.
it. It looks
I
like...
mean-
I'm sure it looks like furry porn.
Oh, yeah. It's a show about nothing, essentially, so I don't know what the movie is going to be about.
The
really.
cats aren't gay and have AIDS?
I mean, that might be like a
cat
metaphor.
rent, is what we're saying.
It might be like a metaphor for cat rent. Or
Okay.
Cats don't pay rent.
But they do get cat AIDS.
That's true.
yes, Cades.
So tell us about this.
It's very disturbing to watch.
I know you're not about to discriminate against furries. Genevieve.
No, but I mean, the fur technology, to the credit, is on point. It looks like fur, but the way they mix the human features with cat features is just bizarre. Almost uncanny valley level of just what the fuck am I looking at? Is this a real live being?
So does he look like...
It's many. They're all cats.
What?
They're all cats. It's a bunch of whole...
Did you say money? It's money?
No.
What the fuck did you say? It's what?
They're all cats.
Okay.
The whole cast.
It's many, maybe?
Many, okay.
And I'm surprised by the range of actors involved in this.
Listen here.
Yes.
I was starting a sentence, and
Okay.
here it is. It's a good one. Does it look like Mike Myers from The Cat in the Hat?
That's my
No, I
benchmark.
would prefer Mike Myers from Cat in the Hat. I actually enjoyed that movie.
Is that the movie that caused him to go into exile? Why haven't we heard from Mike Myers in it?
I mean, before that movie, I didn't hear from him since Austin Powers.
The
But
last
that
thing,
could it's probably just me not paying attention.
the last thing I remember him being in was The Love Guru, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
that debacle.
And I
yeah.
think that might be what
We don't talk about that
exiled
movie.
him.
I just remember in the final Austin Powers movie, they had a guy who would eat his own skin flakes.
Yes, who was also played by Mike Myers.
Yeah. And he was Dutch.
I was,
Supposedly.
still to this day, I'm like, I suppose somebody finds this funny, but I am surprised.
The skin
Gross.
eating?
Yeah, the
I don't
thing
really
I was
know
just,
what that
yeah.
is.
It's not, I think it in and of itself is not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be gross. It's supposed to be over the top, silly, gross.
I wonder if that ever caught on.
And that's
at any
probably
point
funny to, 13-year-olds.
as a stereotype for Dutch people.
I mean, I vehemently reject it as a Dutch person.
I mean, it's clearly not a thing.
I I tried to start a class action lawsuit, but the my fellow Dutchmen would not. They were too busy, like making shoes out of wood.
Plugging dikes.
Plugging dikes and making wood shoes and eating stroop waffles, which are fucking delicious. But it's fine. The Dutch are too chill to really give a shit, except for me. I'm a loose cannon.
Whoa. Little 14-pounder?
Little. No. Don't assume my weight.
Whoa.
I identify
as 14 pounds.
as being less than 1/10 my actual weight.
I identify as a child, essentially.
I identify as a zygote.
Granted, now we can abort you.
14-pound zygote.
Before gender's even a question, too.
Yeah.
I think,
dude, that's the loophole for assisted suicide. All right, you push the identity politics to their most extremes and just canonize it, like countrywide, right? Mm-hmm. And then you say identify as a zygote, and then your mom can be like, "Okay, you tried. I'm aborting you."
No.
Bang.
Oh my God! So your mom kills you?
Hey, but it's whatever.
No, wait a minute. No. Your mom, well, by the time that you need assisted super side salad, that's not super side salad, it's soup or side salad. Super side salad. Your mom, you know, she might have ascended to another plane of existence. I mean, she is a bit older than you.
Well, she identifies as a cruise missile.
Or are you just saying like people who don't have moms?
Anyhow, I can adopt you. If I'm still alive and you need to die, I can adopt you as your mother, and then I can abort you as my zygote.
Yes.
That sounds good. I have this other plan going along this. So I think in California, you don't need like to prove residency or really anything anymore to get a driver's license. Some part of that statement is true. I'm just waiting until I can know for sure that I can register Genevieve as some sort of animal in California and get on our driver's license. Like you can identify as like pupperkin.
Yes.
And then I can file a motion to have her registered as my support animal so that I can take her everywhere. And she can hang out with me at work. And if anybody's like, you can't bring your friend here, this is a secure area, I can be like, it's my fucking support animal. Fuck you.
Please don't pet her.
Yeah. She bites.
Working. Okay.
She bites. She jumps.
she yells punchline.
Yeah.
I already have food aggression, so.
Wait, did we tell that? Did I tell that story? Okay. So Genevieve and I, you know, we hang out sometimes.
Yeah. Occasionally.
We were driving from somewhere, and I was the passenger in the car.
Oh my God.
And she loves to do this thing like right in the middle of a sentence. Jake, have you ever gotten that moment where you're like, damn, I should have said that thing in reply to somebody?
Every single day.
Yeah. Genevieve doesn't have that because as soon as she thinks of it,
it just
later, when the conversation's moved on, it explodes out of her. So we were driving in the car.
Particularly in the middle of his sentences. Like now. Like just right now.
So we were driving along and she said something. And she said like 2 tickets. And the conversation had just about rolled on. And I said, I'm going to show her. I'm going to fucking show her how awesome this is. And I go, to paradise. And I screamed it at her from the passenger seat.
As I'm driving on the highway.
As she's driving the car, we almost crashed.
Because like the version of it you just did is like maybe 10%. And definitely lower.
Okay, let's hear your side of this exchange.
Tonight
on Dateline.
Pretty much that. I just remember being like driving and talking, and then all of a sudden, like I want to say like hearing white noise almost, but it was just it's
like a flashbang.
Yeah, like we call it a sound beyond sound because it's just so high pitched. And
you're conflating 2 different stories. I'm going to keep rolling. The thing about it was, as it came out of my mouth, I realized it was about 100% louder than I intended, and I could see the sound hit her, and then she's like, her eyes got super wide, and I could see monkey brain terror, and I'm like, oh God, we're driving at 55 miles an hour. I hope she keeps it cool. But hey, I was halfway through the punchline. I couldn't stop. Okay, 2 tickets to paradise. And the kicker to this whole experience, she'd never heard that fucking song.
Oh my God.
It was also super out of context, and I don't know. I didn't understand.
You said 2 tickets. I said to paradise. That's perfectly in context for that song. All right, we're moving on.
Wow.
The words were incomprehensible. It was so loud and obnoxious. That's how bad it was.
Any hootaloo.
You're both fired.
Jake.
Yeah.
Jake off.
Super side salad me.
You have been playing a game recently.
I have.
And I've started playing it with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's Minecraft cross Counter-Strike cross
zombie horde mode.
Zombode. Yeah. What are we talking about?
7 days to die. 7 days to die. In perpetual beta. Or alpha or whatever. Alpha. It's an alpha.
Mm-hmm.
It's been out for about 6 years.
Really?
Yep. 2013, I think. And it has come a long way from what I've seen. And finally, the game looked... I've mentioned it before on the show, and I've showed it to you guys during the breaks and stuff, but this channel, Game Society Pimps, they're hilarious, and they have been doing a long playthrough of 7 Days to Die. And they have, like, they've gone to the extent of having, it's 2 hosts, Aaron and Emery, and they've adopted kind of characters for the show as they've continued to play. Aaron is a scientist who caused the zombie apocalypse and is pretty unrepentant about it. And it's fine. And Emery is a former Christian pastor, teacher who lost a job for beating a kid and is a Christian zealot, opposed to all things science.
It's like a typical buddy cop situation.
Kinda. And they're kind of stuck together in this apocalypse. Okay. And they, it's zany, it's not, they don't write the episodes in advance, really. They just kind of fell into these roles, and nowadays they do planning because they're well above 250 episodes at this point. I don't know what alpha they started on, but they've been doing the series probably almost as long as the game has been playable. And it's goddamn hilarious. It is so fucking funny. They're ridiculous. But I've been watching it, having never played the game for years now, either just for my own fun as new episodes come out, or as one of those things you fall asleep to, because I've seen it 6,000 times. And boy, is it fucking funny. So finally, I kind of got the inkling to play something other than Fallout 4 and other than all the games I've purchased and haven't played yet, because why would I do that?
Remarkably similar to Fallout.
There's overlap for sure.
Just from, watching you guys play.
They're both post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Apocalyptic.
Sorry, Japan. I apologize.
Let's come back to the Japanese after this idea.
Yeah, sure. So 7 Days to Die is you kind of already said it. It is part Minecraft, part zombie. There are zombies in Minecraft as well, but this game is far less lo-fi, or should I say hi-fi, relative to Minecraft. The Minecraft elements are kind of blocky structures, detailed crafting, deconstructing your environment. With various tools and building things, whatever. But it is also very much a survival game. You have to eat and drink and not get sick, and you can get too cold or too hot or fatigued or all this shit. And there are just zombies running around, and at night they are faster and possibly more powerful. So during the day they kind of shamble. And at night they either run or jog. And they're all different kind of strata of...
You gotta stay active.
Yeah, and they don't like the sun. What's up?
To that point...
Yeah.
There are a number of zombies. There's some big, fat, disgusting zombos. There's like lumberjacks who are pretty built. But there's like several lady zombies who, in the apocalypse... they would get it if they wanted it.
Like on a scale of 0 to 1?
definite ones, dude. They're like,
hey man, they will put their mouth around your cock.
After that,
you won't
I'm not
like
sure
it.
what's going on, but yeah.
I mean, I guess, like, I got chased by this Zombo the other day who was just in her undie pants, topless, with these big old jugs, painted all over her body with cool tattoos, great hair. So her skin was a little green. So she was trying to eat my face. You know, I like a girl that's into it. And, you know, I was like, this is
committed to it.
Yeah, this is not really, this isn't something that they usually do in Zombo movies. You know, I'm not used to them being so visually striking, you know, so beautiful, even in the undead. Anyway, so that's been interesting.
The underwear did.
Bill's a zombophile.
Oh, these zombies, Christ.
I'm surprised by how many nurses are just walking around.
There are a lot of nurses.
I think that's a callback to Silent Hill.
Probably,
Okay.
but they're not very helpful.
Because there's like, I mean, I haven't seen any indication of any kind of medical structure to indicate there should be that many nurses around, but
there are hospitals.
Silent Hill has the nurse monsters in it, and they wear that little nurse hat. And that's exactly what you see in this one. So
yeah. So you can level up. You purchase perks. You can craft things. Anything from, you know, bits out of wood or metal, you know, structural pieces or pieces of equipment, tools of various kinds, weapons of various kinds. Very, very detailed crafting system, you know, where you're foraging for stuff and almost everything is useful. And, you know, you build a base, right? And you use that base, you know, in whatever form it takes to ideally hole up against the hordes of zombies. Now, on most nights, there will be a few, and depending on how many lights you have going, if you're melting stuff in a forge, making noise, whatever, more will come. But every 7th evening, there is a horde night. The sky goes red, it's all spooky, scary, and waves of zombies hunt you. They know where you are, and they come looking, and they're even faster and they're even stronger than on a normal night, and there are way more of them. So, you know, it's a recurring, it's not a perpetual horde mode, obviously, because you have to survive also. And there's sort of there's an element where you die and you drop not your whole inventory, but your tool belt, your hotkeys, into a backpack on the ground, and then you have to go back to where you died to retrieve those items. Kind of Dark Soulsy in that respect. That backpack can get destroyed if someone shoots it or whatever, and then all your stuff's just gone. Or if you die in transit to go pick up your backpack, it won't disappear like you know, Souls and Dark Souls, but you will lose your map marker for it, and you'll have to find it manually because there's only one of those at a time.
Does anything happen if you die a third time before getting, or
no,
second time before getting back to it?
No, it just keeps moving because it'll only allow one compass marker for your backpack at a time. If you first of all, kind of backtracking slightly, the games are very customizable in terms of difficulty. You know, when night and day actually start each day. You can actually turn off survival mode altogether and just have like an exploration game or whatever, or you know, various sorts of things. They're very customizable in terms of the server you're going to put together. But typically, you can see them on the compass, and there's only one of them at a time. So if you die once, that's where your backpack fell here. But then if you die before you pick it up, you'll probably still have stuff. You'll have to equip stuff to live, most likely. And then if you die again, your new backpack spot's here, and your old backpack is still there, but it's not marked on your compass for you. Okay. So you have to navigate yourself.
So you're just dropping bags of your stuff everywhere.
Yeah, essentially. And I mean, there are penalties for dying, you know, that wear off over time. There's all kinds of goofy.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I started playing it because I saw you playing it, and I was like,
"Didn't you buy it like a while ago?" Yeah,
and I've been playing a lot of Counter-Strike, and I don't know, it's ebbing and flowing because I'm getting a lot better, and I keep getting close to winning on my server. But some of the guys that I play with are so unbelievable. It's like disheartening. So I'm just trying to keep with the grind. But I was like, I need something. I need a different snack, you know? So I saw you playing that a lot. And I'll be honest with you. I thought you were playing I thought it was Don't Starve. When loaded it up, I was like, oh, Jake's really playing Don't Starve. Let me check it out. I thought it was called 7 Days to Die. In my head, I was seeing Don't Starve. So I tried to load the damn thing. I downloaded it. Now, I've not ever had a problem loading up a Steam game. This one, I couldn't get it going. Dude, I was troubleshooting it. I was talking to you. It would like load this easy anti-cheat thing and then crash, but there was no error, nothing. So I like had things run as administrator. I verified files, zip, zap, zoop, zoppity, boppity. And it come to find out, all I had to do was change what was rendering the graphics from DirectX 11 to OpenGL. I don't know why. Now, and I had suspected maybe I should try that. And what?
What's GL?
OpenGL? I don't know. It's just another graphics renderer thing.
Okay.
And then it got booted up, and it runs pretty good. It definitely runs better on the Starship Enterprise that you've got than Genevieve's machine, which I mean makes sense. Your machine is made for like Civ, which isn't quite so graphics heavy, single thread. But it I haven't really had a game where I've like really been hungry to jump in and play with a friend in a long time. Like I was playing Black Wake, and I play that with Carl, friend of the podcast. And it's like, if he's on, I'll jump on because we like to play together, but I'm not like, holy fuck, I can't wait to get home and call him up and like, let's play this game. That is how I now feel since I've been playing with you. And I got to tell you, it has been a bananas experience because the way that you play these sorts of games, like, and I mean, you know, Skyrim and Fallout and
like the open world.
Yeah, where, you know, okay, accumulate this stuff, craft this stuff, you will become super strong, and you
blast everyone.
Yeah, like it's an anomaly. I've never played a game that way. I have never played a game the way that you play Fallout and stuff. I just kind of cruise through, and I try to shoot people in the head. With whatever gun I have.
Nah, man. In Fallout and even Skyrim and in this game, I am an operator. Like, I am focused. These are the things I need and want. This is what I want to be able to do and how I'll go about it. Like, you know, we've cleared a few structures together, houses and whatnot.
Yo, and that has been an absolute fucking blast.
It's fun, right?
So you remember back in the day?
It's silly, to be clear, but before you go on that tangent, the house clearing is silly because the game sets up, the game has its own sort of tropes, right? And it sets up traps. And there are way too many zombies in certain places, right? But the point is to be, it's arcadey in a lot of ways. Like we talk about comparisons to Minecraft and you know, we talk about, you know, issues running, you know, graphics and whatnot. It's not exactly hi-fi, okay? It doesn't look like, you know, Crysis or even, it's probably about on par with Counter-Strike, kind of.
It's mid-fi.
It's mid-fi is probably an apt term, Genevieve.
Yes. You're welcome, world.
Yeah, like stuff renders kind of funnily. It's blockly. Your character looks pretty silly. The zombies aren't, you know, like the textures aren't all that great. But it's not like obvious, purposeful, gigantic pixels like Minecraft, right? And there is an attempt at things looking realistic. Like, for example, garage doors, you know, being open, but they're not functional. They're just panels that the developers arranged in such a way, or like gates to like a large creature cage. Like, it's not a swinging gate; it's just metal grates and like wood posts to make it look like one. So there's workarounds like that, right? So when you're clearing these houses, there are things like, you know, false panels you can break open just because they look a little weird. Loose floorboards that you can fall through as a trap, or zombies will fall through on top of you from. And they're just, they're high. So like,
it's like whack-a-mole.
I don't think you can see the other players, like, you know, where they're actually looking up and down, right? You can just kind of see their horizontal direction they're looking in, even as you're, you know, looking up into ceiling corners and whatever. But I am like doing a 3-dimensional sweep of every room I walked into as best as I can, and I still get ambushed. It's like stuff just bursts through closet walls, and like the dudes are just waiting there for someone to come by. You'll see them, and you can snipe them if you have a clear shot at them. So it's silly. It's an arcade game, but I find it really, but it's also really hard. And we're playing on normal difficulty on my server. Okay. Like, and it's hard. like you can die a lot. So you still have to treat it kind of seriously if you don't want to die a lot.
And that was the thing that I found the most astounding and most engaging. So you're level like 200 and something.
I'm like 220 now or something.
And when I'm on Jake's server and he kills, a Zombo, I get shared experience. So the game is sort of accelerating me up, getting closer to your level.
Where are you?
But like 33.
Okay.
But these monsters are hard for me to kill. And it's been a pretty neat experience because like you're like, all right, you need experience. I had just started playing the game. I didn't even go through the tutorial when I jumped in your server and you helped me work through the tutorial, but you're like, all right, dude, you got to practice using your melee attacks on the Zombo. Go for it. And then you stand there with your gun while I fight this super strong zombie.
I'm just training.
Yeah. And
just waiting for it to get out of control.
Dude, so and like the zombies are walking around and they swing kind of slowly. And I'll tell you at first glance, I was like, this doesn't look like it could be very exciting because these zombies are so slow and dumb. Well, then
They're
we started
really, really dumb.
We started clearing buildings together. And like you said, like you gave me like an MP5 with like a silencer and all this stuff. I wouldn't have had it for, weeks.
I think we found it. I didn't even like just give you like a god weapon or anything.
Oh yeah. And you gave me a bunch of stuff I needed to start, some bullets, and you gave me a really good shotgun. That's what it was. And now we're clearing these rooms, and it's like I feel like an operator in zombie Minecraft. Like I feel like a friggin' SEAL or something, because we're like clearing these rooms, and I'm like watching over your back as a zombie bursts out of a secret panel, and I'm shooting behind you to put it down. And like last night, I got isolated and 6 zombies came out of nowhere and rushed me, and I'm fucking bleeding out, running backwards, and you come out with your AK, pop, 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 shooting these zombies in the back of the head to save me, and then I, splint my leg, and it's like
for the 15th time.
It's so much, I sort of wish there were more NPCs like you see in Fallout, but even
the only NPCs you find that are not zombies are traders, and they are very few and far between. Yeah. I've met 2 of them.
But what I do like about it is it forces us to be a team, and more than just like, I know Minecraft will set up servers and people do it with their friends and they build like Rivendell together or whatever. This one, we're not just building together, where we have to fight together, because especially me, I will get fucked if you aren't there to back me up.
Jake has all the power in this relationship.
I'm extremely powerful. Like it's because there are perks you can take where you have an increased chance to blow up a zombie's head, and that's an insta kill. So things that take you, because you haven't perked into those sorts of things, you just have to keep drilling headshots to have a realistic, like over and over, like 4 or 5 headshots on some creatures. I have a very good chance of just blowing their head off on the first shot if I aim right.
Yeah.
And that has been such a boon at this point, but you got to work for it.
Now I'm looking forward to when we're both closer to the same level, because it's like at this point it's like I sort of will wander off by myself to try to seek more of a challenge, because if you and I are super close together and there's 10 zombos, you'll kill 9 of them because you're very strong. I'm looking forward to when we're like, if we fuck up as a team, it'll take us down. But I can't believe I'm talking about zombie Minecraft as like one of my favorite team shooters.
It's really
that
fun.
We've ever we're doing squad work, and I can't wait to get Sean, friend of the podcast, in on our server so that we can have 3 people and clear buildings together. Dude, this game has taken me so much by surprise, especially since I think it's $25 at full price. We went there, an airplane flew over and dropped some supplies. So we drove in your truck that you built out to this supply bin, and I saw this big house on the hill. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to go in there. And you're just like, all right, be careful, don't get killed. So I go in and I shoot these strong zombies, and I'm doing okay. And they're surprising me, and you're like, all right, I'm coming to the front. So you and I meet inside. You clear them out, we meet, and then we start clearing the house. And
It was like a big like skiing lodge mansion type of thing.
Yeah, so we clear it out and we get to like this little bit of a payoff. And if we weren't very dedicated, we might have been like, no big deal. So I think I busted through a wall and I found that there was a secret room. So we go and we loot that stuff and it's okay, but not great. And then you're like, dude, there's a steeple outside. So we circle around the roofs and we get to where we think we can access the steeple. And it turns out the steeple's an elevator shaft. What? And I'm like, let's go look at the top. I think there might be something up there. Well, you're working.
I'm wood framing around.
Yeah.
You can craft little boxes of wood that are the most basic structural piece.
Like a crate almost.
Yeah, except it's just the frame. It's a wood frame, right?
Right.
And you can craft them out of wood in the field very quickly. You can drop them. You can place them beneath you as you jump, which is huge, and you can pick them back up again. So they're an essential tool for bypassing a lot of the traditional, you can just cheese the game out of its trying to like trap you and stuff. If you you fall down a hole and there's a bunch of zombies. Well, as long as you can get the ones immediately off you out of the way, and you're fast at dropping wood frames, you can just wood frame right back up the hole you fell through, and you're safe.
Now I will, I will say this. In Minecraft, if you build like a pillar and then a platform, as I recall, if you then remove the pillar, the platform will stay floating.
There, yeah. There is gravity and structural physics to an extent. They're silly, but they're there and they're important.
Yeah. So I was at your base, and I'll go back to finishing the elevator shaft story. But I was at your base, and you built me a little apartment, which was really, really nice. I feel like we're such pals in this game.
You have a little apartment.
Yeah, a little apartment.
The Fortress of Solitude?
Mm-hmm. And I was like, there's a big billboard, and I was like, I want to build a catwalk. And I played Minecraft. All I built was like catwalks and highways. I loved it. I don't know. I'm a fucking weirdo. Maybe it's like the monkey brain in me. Got to get in the trees, right? So I'm like, I'll do some Minecraft building. I'll connect these wood frames. I'll build stairs up, whatever. So Jake lives in a goddamn fortress, and everywhere there's spinning blades that aren't always turned on, and there's...
We'll come back to the detailed description.
There's fucking spikes and stuff.
Yeah.
And your boy here, me, dum-dum, I fall all the goddamn time. I have died, I think, 9 times in Jake's game, and minimum 8 of those deaths have been falling onto his own traps. Like, we found out that if you walk directly at these railings on some catwalk, you don't go over. But if I'm walking perpendicular to them, and I sort of look to the side, and I go at a 30-degree angle, just go right over the railings. I don't know why. And guess what? I fell and I land in these spikes. So what do I try to do? I try to jump out, and the jumping then kills my character.
Because you jump right back onto the spike.
And then I have to... So if you don't have a bedroll, you respawn where your bedroll is, or you can near it. Well, I picked up my bedroll to put it in my little apartment that Jake made. And then I
didn't actually put it in the apartment.
I didn't put, because I fell to my death on his spikes before I got there. So I spawned 3 kilometers away. He had to come pick me up while I'm fighting a lumberjack.
Dude, my roommate sucked.
Oh my God.
He just murdered himself. And I have to go pick him up now.
Exactly. And it's just, so that's my MO. That is my MO. I fall all the fucking time. And it's been one of the most fun, scary things. Because, we were clearing a building together, a high-rise building, and I'm like, oh, I found treasure. And then I fall through the floor 40 feet down into a bunch of zombos, and they brutally murdered me. And you're like, oh, shit, here I come to help.
Too late.
I fell again. I think I fell again. But, so anyway, we're in this elevator shaft, and you're up there exploring.
Yeah, we're back at the ski lodge now, and we thought we were done, but there was a steeple that we were investigating. And you figure out it's an elevator shaft, and you were like, "Oh, maybe there's something on top of it." And I agreed, but kind of looking at it, and there may have been something tucked in there, but we would have had to like go on the outside and break through to get to, but it probably wouldn't have been very much. So it was like ostensibly the mechanism for the elevator,
right?
And in our wood framing around, both of us at various points fell, but you fell further onto the actual elevator. Yeah. And then what happened?
Well, I was like, hey, maybe we should check out this elevator. And I'm like, I'll just carefully navigate around this ledge. Oops, I have immediately fallen. And I fell into the elevator. I broke my leg. You gave me the 4th splint of the night. And there was a hatch, and I go into the elevator. I'm like, cool, where are going? I get down there. There's a shitload of zombies. I'm like, oh, you might want to get down here. There's some really cool shit and zombies. It's a fucking like underground mine. It's a whole dungeon. A whole dungeon under this house that we just decided to fuck around and poke around in because we found these supplies from an airplane that doesn't make it. Like, how are there airplanes? This whole game, I keep stumbling into adventure. We end up clearing this whole series of mines with tons of zombos. Like, it's like a cool experimentation laboratory. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it too much for everybody, but we get to this room. And we suspect that there's zombies in there. I think you'd seen somebody do a playthrough, and you're like,
on the Game Society playthrough, they cleared and actually turned into a base that exact structure.
So I was ready to just go in guns blazing because it was like 2:30 in the morning. You can tell I'm kind of hooked on this game. Well, I'm like, why don't we get through these metal grates and just shoot them from above? Because there's steel I-beams that go across. Jake's like, cool. So he pulls out his auger, destroys the metal grates, and we're hovering above them. And I can walk between the two grates, like there's a space between them, but the game's recognizing that I can move from side. So I'm like shooting these zombies in the head. Everything's going great. And Jake's like, all right, dude, like you're doing good, but don't fall. And I was like, all right, I'm being really careful. And then maybe 4 seconds later, I go, oh no, in fact, I have fallen again. Like all I do is fall. So I fall into the
middle. Did you still have a splint?
I fall into the middle of the zombies. My leg breaks. Then they're all rushing at me, and Jake's like, oh no.
Oh, and by the way, it's nighttime.
Yeah, so you're like extra powerful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I was still up. I was kind of opposite where you were before you fell. So I had a beat on all the zombies you fell into, and I had my crossbow with exploding crossbow bolts out. And I was like, go forward as fast as you can. Yes. And you did that, and I was like, fuck blammo, and repeatedly, and then we made it.
Dude, I will tell you one thing that I will pat myself on the back. In video games, when I'm working with a teammate, I will do exactly what they tell me to do when they tell me to do something like that. Like, go forward. I've played, and I don't want to bust your chops too much, G, but I just want to tell this story. I'll be like, okay, like we'll play Borderlands together, and I'll be like, gee, you gotta duck and move over here, and she'll go, why? I'm having fun. And then a huge monster bites her fucking head off. I was like, no, you gotta be quick.
That's why.
She's like, I do what I want to do.
So that's how I just skate through life, though. So.
Getting chomped by mondoos.
Yeah, falling everywhere.
Oh my God, we'll be doing work in the yard, and I'll like demonstrate how to do use a new tool, like a wrecking bar or something in the dirt. And like we're out there for a specific goal. We want to dig a trench to put a pipe in or something. And I give her a tool, I give her a tutorial, tell her a goal. I leave for a half hour, go do whatever work I'm doing. I come back and I'm like, I think it'd be a lot more effective if you did this instead of what you're doing, and you could still use the tool. And she'll go, but I'm having fun. And I go, you know what? All right, just do whatever you whatever word you get.
My argument, and it works.
And then the monster comes out of the trench.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and chomps her. Yeah, but she's
every damn
fun.
time.
I've realized that just let it happen. So, dude, it like inadvertently when we were playing, I realized I'm like the dumb slapstick companion. And like, if you didn't like, if somebody didn't know me, they'd be like, this fucking dummy is falling just to be funny. No, I'm really falling all of the time.
My base is anathema to people who cannot avoid falling.
Oh my God.
It is a sea of spikes.
And one of my favorite things also is there's either, I think I have like a corrupted file. I tried to verify the install files through Steam. Something's going on. When we drive the truck, you have a truck that you drive around. The wheels don't turn. And when you're not accelerating or decelerating, I don't hear the engine. So it's you get in the truck,
silent.
the wheels don't turn, it just goes dead silent, and then we stop. And you've got this like gyrocopter, so it's got a little propeller on the back.
It's a helicopter that is essentially, it looks like a helicopter, a little tiny one for personal use, except it does rely on forward momentum to operate. So it's like a mix of those.
Yeah, when you get in that, it doesn't make any sound. And none of the blades turn. So it just you're just
levitating.
I'm watching you completely silently just cruise around through the sky.
I saw this and it's so great to hear about.
It's
just so dumb.
It's so ridiculous. And then,
now for me, the sounds and animations are exactly as intended. Like everything's moving, the sounds are appropriate. I can actually, I can hear, whatever feedback. If I run out of fuel or whatever, I can tell. But for you, sitting in the same truck as me,
Silence.
Wow.
Absolute
and my
silence.
character, when they're sitting in the vehicle, she like T poses next to you, and then eventually is like, never mind, puts arms for. It's just
that happens to everyone at some point
I
or
don't know
another.
what to do with my hands.
Like there have been occasions. This hasn't happened to me, but in one of the episodes of the show I watch, when they first built mini bikes, so like scooters. The one guy was doing a jogging animation as he was driving. So he's driving his mini bike, but his character is running on and within the mini bike at mini bike speed.
Like not only the arm motions, but leg motions as well.
He was actually running.
So
in place within and built into the mini bike, which was driving normally.
When you and I were
So even when he stopped with the bike, he would still be running in place.
Yes, and you'll also get things, actually happened a little earlier when you guys walked in, I was playing a bit, where you'll kill something and the creature will appear like it's still alive, but just like not moving, like inactive, like it'll look like it's breathing and stuff, but it's actually dead. But that's a little more ubiquitous, but what's really funny, and I haven't seen it in my game yet, are if you've ever seen the sorts of glitches from Fallout and Skyrim where a corpse of something spazzes and stretches across the universe, that can happen in this game too.
Cool.
And it's really funny, but you can only see it locally on whoever is experiencing the glitch, so other people can't. And the way Game Society has dealt with those sorts of visual glitches is with just little throwaway jokes like, "Oh, I think that corn on the cob was tainted, man. I don't know, man. It's getting fucked up, man." And they'll just have a little bit for a little while and then move on. Point is there's a reason why it's been an alpha for 6 years, because they keep updating and wiping the world clean and making all these fixes for better or for worse. But anyway, it's certainly come a long way,
dude. So it's turned out to be a blast, and like. I almost didn't want to come do the podcast today. Like, I mean, I always want to do the podcast. It's my favorite thing.
We did skip the last 2 weeks for various reasons.
Yeah. And I especially wanted to do it. And even in light of that, I was like, if I don't go to the podcast, Jake and I can just play more of this game. Like, we're sitting on Discord, shooting the shit with each other. And I'm looking at everything about, like, okay, so the one thing that sort of escapes me is the crafting. It's not really intuitive for me. I should probably do some research. And then there's always a bit at the end where when I get into this kind of crafting, there's functionality that I wish was there that's not quite. So a specific example of a frustration I ran into is part of the tutorial. It says, build a wood frame and then upgrade it. Maybe in the journal somewhere, it tells you how to upgrade.
The journal tells you a whole lot.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, then that was my own fault because I wouldn't have figured it out. And it's one of those things, there's so many journal pop-ups and some of them are like just sort of fluff that you don't want to read it. But I had to right-click with the stone axe to upgrade this wood frame, which is really useful, but I wish it had been presented a little more forwardly. So at first I was like, okay, the instruction's not quite where I want it to be, but I guess I was being kind of lazy. But there's so much to build. I don't know the rules for how things are built. Like there's a value. And once that, I was trying to build a catwalk at Jake's base to that big billboard.
The danger zone.
And I thought, oh, Minecraft rules. So I built these stairs and I built these blocks and I put a sixth block on the end. The whole thing collapsed under me and I fell onto the spikes again. And then I died.
Oh, it's just Bill playing the game.
Yup. So
it's just beautiful.
Oh, so I was like, oh, I guess it's not Minecraft rules. And I started looking at these structures. There's like wood support beams. I'm like, is this like Polybridge, which is a game where you build bridges with support? You have to consider it. They're like, does it have vertical support? Yes. Does it have horizontal support? 40. I'm like, oh my God. So now I need, if there is a specific instruction on what to consider to build bridges, because I love bridges, then I will be 100% satisfied with this game. But as of right now,
it can absolutely be done. I have not really made the attempt. The key principle is that you need to support your structures from below.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked at the numbers in detail. I haven't done any research on the subject. It's just been trial and error. But if you have an insufficiently supported structure, there are the obvious ones, like trying to build an infinite catwalk. Pretty quickly, around about the third or fourth with catwalks, it'll just start to disintegrate, which is counterintuitive because catwalk. But
catwalk.
It is very much
baby the catwalk.
It is very much the case. But to give you an idea of, before I get into my base specifically, there are like little military encampments you can find, derelict, just filled with zombies at this point. And they have little tents, and the tents are, cloth walled structures, blocky like everything else. And it'll have like a cot or like a computer or just a little bit of stuff inside, accompanied with whatever hostile denizens there may be. One of the first times I died in the game, and I've only died at a few because I've taken it seriously, I suppose. That's not meant as a diss at all.
I didn't take it as one. Trying to sow you trying to start problems?
Trying to start a fight?
Yeah, you're trying to start a fight?
Oh my goodness.
You want to fight? Why don't you just put your head up my butt and fight for air?
Got him. So I go into one of these tents. And
Do I have to date you?
Yes. You have an obligation.
Damn it!
It's contractual. Sorry.
I didn't sign anything.
Okay, please continue, Jake.
I go into one of these tents, and there's like a computer thing, and I'm disassembling it with my wrench. And
you're jerking off?
Yeah.
That's exactly what that means. And so I
disassembling it with my wrench.
Listen, wrench is a multifaceted tool.
Why are you disassembling it though?
For parts. So I'm getting my parts, and eventually the computer block explodes because it's fully destroyed. Evidently, it was a structural support. And the cloth tent collapses atop my head, and I die. Yeah.
It's a pretty serious tent.
So it's more extreme than real life in that regards. If anything falling atop your head, no matter how light, will cause damage, and if it is the bulk of a however small structure, it can kill you.
I thought you were going to say it would cause insta-death.
So that's the small scale. Large scale, let's talk about my base. Unless you have some other thing.
Well, somebody posted on the 7 Days to Die subreddit when I was troubleshooting. They're like, getting back into the game after not playing for a while. And it's the episode of The Simpsons where the Flanders house is destroyed. So the town rebuilds it and they do a terrible job. Mm-hmm. And they have Bart and one of the Flanders kids are in a room. And there's like a Krusty poster. And one of the kids is like, I don't like this poster, and tears it down. And Bart's like, that's not a good idea. That's a structural poster. And then he pulls the poster down and the wall cracks all the way over in the room, like collapses.
Literally the same thing can happen in 7 Days to Die in some places. It won't happen in like a typical house, right? Because as structures get bigger, it's less of a problem. But it's those little ones where the weirdness really happens. However, it still happens at the large scale. So my base... my first actual build, technically, no, we'll call it my second. The first time I attempted to play the game, I got about 2 weeks I got about 3 weeks into the in-game time, and I had a crippling bug, and probably could have saved the save. It was probably just I had like developer mode on, like cheat mode on, and I like hit a button I didn't realize and I didn't know what it did. Who knows? But anyway, that was my first build. So this is my second one, and it was like an auto body shop of some type, right, and gas station, and largely constructed of concrete already. But it had, the overhang where the gas pumps are, it had the garage, and then it had a central structure where there was a store and apartment above it for some reason, and then like a accessible rooftop. So I'm like, okay, but the reason why I went with it is that it had, zombies are stupid, okay? And there are whole sub-communities in 7 Days to Die of just base building and testing the zombie AI to see how they react to certain obstacles and stimuli and what have you. Whether or not, and how effective, of course, it is to survive within. So from looking at a little bit of that stuff, if the zombies perceive an easy path to get to you, they can climb ladders, they can walk up steps, they can jump one brick high, and sometimes they can make it up two if they're persistent, or if they're cluttered by, they can kind of a little bit of World War Z up each other a little bit. So I'm like, okay, let's see if I can kind of plan around this. So I first move into this base, and there is exactly one way to get up to the rooftop where I'm holding up, right? And that is to go into the building, through any of several doors. But once you're in the first floor, it's just, you have to go to one specific stairwell, go through like the apartment living area, out one specific door, and then around a specific way to get to the stairwell that leads to me. So I'm like, okay, that is a very long path the zombies have to take. Right. During which I can place obstacles, spikes, endless spikes, and then later spinning blade traps that you can turn on and off with a generator and fuel. So I then take this idea. Zombies will also just break through walls, and obviously the stronger the walls are, the longer it takes them. So there is an element of that you have to consider, but largely, in my case, it hasn't been too much of an issue because all of the walls are made of concrete, and I've been reinforcing them with more concrete. So now what I've done is, the first floor is still the first floor, right? All I've done is flood it with traps and blade traps and spikes and whatever. But if they get, I don't think they've even been making it past that point, but before the fortress got to where the point where it is now, I started constructing, again out of concrete, a maze on the second floor, on the rooftops, on the lower rooftops for the garage and the pump overhang. Okay. So just erecting new concrete walls to elongate the path even further, to give me more time to run atop the walls, shoot down at them, and also there are spikes everywhere. So that's been extremely successful. Now, that's all still in play. I have 5 generators strewn around. One of them is just for lighting. That's in like my main room with switches specific for, I have a rooftop garden. There's lights just for that. Aww. There are perimeter lights that are just spotlights to go around so I can kind of see beyond the wall I erected around 3/4. So they have to and then in front of that, dug a trench and filled with more spikes. But most of the zombies get just hung up on the wall, and I can shoot at them from the roof top, right? So they'll be fucking around the spikes. Most of them will die. They have started, because of the trench not being reinforced, having a wall that goes below the ground. They have been, on horde nights, punching through the ground under the wall and popping up, only to find spikes. The rest of my spikes. And a labyrinth of further spikes and spinning blades.
I just want everyone to appreciate that sentence you constructed. The zombies have been punching through the ground to find my spikes.
Yes.
A maze.
Only to find my other spikes.
The zombies' primary form of attack is punching. All they do is punch. They're aspiring boxers, no kicks.
All of them.
No bites until they kill you. There's just punch. So they punch through walls, they punch through dirt, they punch through you, and then you die.
Isn't that how you get your food?
Basically, just go to the produce aisle and punch the lettuce into submission.
Yeah. Until it's in bite form.
So. But I'm kind of letting that happen. I'm letting them tunnel under the wall because every time they make a hole after Horde Night, first of all, they all die anyway. Technically, I don't have to fire a single shot at this point. Eventually, as the Horde Nights get harder, that'll probably change.
Theoretically.
And you don't get experience for trap kills, or for vehicle kills for that matter. So,
really?
So you have to you have to attack them directly for it to count, or at least get the killing blow. So so I'm still up there on the roof plinking at them anyway. But honestly, I might just stop the next Horde Night and just
see what happens.
Fuck around on my base and just kind of keep an eye on the situation and just see how fucked up the base gets. So anyway, as they're tunneling under the wall, I'm just filling it with concrete and they have to punch a new hole or waste their time punching through concrete instead of dirt. So it's a win-win, right? Like, fuck you. So, but like the strategy has just been evolving to where the only way you get into the base is as a human is through one of two garages. You have to command a drawbridge to drop, which is 4 bricks across, and no zombie can jump that. So even if they choose to follow you up one of the 2 ramps, they just fall into spikes, or they get shot to hell by the players or the turrets. which I have a separate switch for, so if I don't want them to waste ammo, because holy shit, they use a lot of ammo, I can just leave them off. Or if I feel like things are getting a little hairy, I can go click, and then all the perimeter turrets turn on, and they'll just fuck everything up. So the maze has been increasing. The structural reinforcement has been increasing. I'm all the way up to steel reinforced concrete for most of the the first level walls. So it's not the strongest stuff in the game, but the strongest stuff I can currently make. And it's extremely really tough. And they, that encourages them to look for openings that I have left on purpose, which of course are filled with spikes. So so while they do occasionally try to punch through stuff, it doesn't last all that long, and they usually don't get through. And then, it's all about just steering the zombies where I want them to go and knowing what that path looks like and keeping an eye out for any way they can trick it. Because basically, if they ever find a way to get on top of my walls, that's where the risk jumps exponentially. Where, okay, I got to make sure that from any given tier of wall, there's at least a 2-block jump they have to make, ideally 3, because they just can't jump up 3, period. And then to make sure that there are no ladders reaching down, right? So it's kind of meticulously planned in that sense. If you look at it, and maybe we'll make some videos with it or whatever. It looks like a haphazard facility, crazy shit, but it's all it's chaos by ordered chaos, right? It's logical, and the more you play on it, and the more things I show you about it, and the more rationale you see in how the zombies behave, I think we should definitely play the next Horde Night together, and we probably just shouldn't fire a shot, and just kind of watch, you know what I mean, and see what happens. But anyway, all that aside, what I learned in the ongoing construction of this fortress is that, coming back to structural support, if I hadn't done what I did to the bottom and thickened up the pillars and thickened up the walls and beefed up their actual integrity otherwise, the bays for where the cars used to be worked on, they go underground for where the lifts actually operate, I just destroyed them and filled them with concrete. Just fill them up. I don't need them. I'm not repairing cars. Fuck you. So that and several other similar steps all serve to avoid symptoms of collapse. And symptoms look like the stuff at the very top of your base randomly cracking and falling apart bit by bit over time. And I was like, well, I think the game is computing that because keep in mind, my base is made entirely out of concrete and steel with very little bits of wood. Right, in places that I'm not too concerned about breaking, and I want to be able to repair easier, right? But the overwhelming 99%, it's concrete. Concrete's fucking heavy, and I'm building it on the 2nd and 3rd floors. Yeah. So we gotta really beef up that 1st floor, and since I've done that, The only damage that's occurring is to the upper floors is when the one specific zombie type police officers, which are unanimously 8 feet tall and 600 pounds.
Oh,
move really fast.
Ooh, daddy zombie.
And have projectile acidic puke. Because this is what cops are. And
that's my fetish.
So they'll shoot puke at you, and that'll do a little bit of damage to your concrete. It can like melt wood.
Oh, don't forget there are Air Force strike wings of zombie birds.
That's true.
I really like that.
Vultures.
The zombie whatever that caused everybody to turn into zombies in this world also affected birds and dogs
and bears.
And bears.
There are undead bears. They're horrifying.
So are there any animals that you've seen that aren't affected?
I feel rabbits, boars, and deer.
Oh yeah.
Dudes. So there's a
snakes.
lot going on in this game, and I think we might have finally found the thing that a bunch of us can get on and play. And I'm going to be honest. I didn't have any siblings growing up to play games with. My family didn't really do the internet thing until the very end of my high school career, so I didn't have a lot of online play. I'm so excited for us to maybe get a little server together. And
we can.
Sort of what I'm thinking is like, you and I keep playing on yours, and whoever else you want to have on there.
Ideally, I want to see if I can. I'm gonna let you finish. But ideally, I want to see if I can just make my game like a server that anyone could just hop into.
Well, that's what I want. I was going to look into that too. I don't know if we need a dedicated machine, but I want to run a persistent server that any of us can jump into. But I want it to be. We'll put mods on it, but I want it to be sort of unforgiving. So in the game that you had at one point, Jake is letting me move around I'm checking out my apartment, and then I fall into some spikes, of course, and he comes over to check me out, and he's just flying. You were just flying around.
What?
And I was like, I kind of want to, because he like turned on like some sort of something. So he could like fly around to actually make changes to his base. And
more easily than having to build scaffolding and
so you're
falling
like
to my
Magneto,
death.
Just floating around in the sky.
It's God mode. It's developer God mode.
And then there's, I know you can slow down time and speed it up. I kind of want to have a server where we get in and we're just at the mercy of the game. And all of us get in and we try to survive, and it's really, really hard. And you know who else would really like this? Would be you, Genevieve.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. There's...
You get to clean?
Actually, yes. You get to do all that shit that you do in House Flipper.
Yeah.
Say selling houses, all this customized stuff. I think you could do as a ton of fun. And what I'm looking at is like, we get into a server where it's hard, we have to survive all the time, and then we have to try to keep her alive because she just wants to build cute homes, and we're like, there are zombies coming
guys,
tonight.
I think we have a TV show.
There's a surprising range of like creative options in that vein. There are whole communities of people who just base build, and there are videos you can watch of just like, hey, this is my server, like these are what all my friends on my server have built. Like, oh, let's turn on God mode and just do a tour, and people put a lot of attention to detail in. Like, you can build all kinds of furniture, you can build all kinds of like decorations, and I mean, if you like the game enough to start modding, obviously you can start doing stuff.
And that's what I'm really stoked about. I've talked about modding games, but if I could figure out how to actually do it in this game, there's a lot of shit I'd like to see, especially like. I think it would be so cool if there was like a faction ability, so we had we build our base, and then whoever else on our server, they build their own base, and then we have to fight.
That could be arranged informally as it is. I mean, there are PvP servers. I've shut all that stuff off. I haven't shut it off so much as my game is not public, so I have to invite you in. Excuse me, but I mean, there are allies and faction. I think it's already in the game, dude. It's just a question of to what extent it actually affects the game. Because like when I add you as a faction member, like we can see each other's health bar and each other on the map and stuff. So that's there. And dude, it wouldn't be that there's dye in the game. There's paint in the game. We can paint structures. We could dye our clothing and armor. Like we could do something stupid like that.
Oh my God. Can we just be like super obnoxiously colored? I don't know.
It would be work. And that's where like you talk about being at the mercy of the game.
True.
The admins and mods will pretty uniformly always have access to those dev tools to whatever extent the server allows. The host of the server definitely will. it's just like there's no compulsion for me to turn it on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really only doing it. Occasionally the game will glitch and fuck you.
Yeah.
So like, for example, with placing wood frames, if you're like on an uneven surface and you don't jump high enough, the game could place the wood frame as you say to, but then you're stuck inside of it and you can't pick it up and you can't move. God mode, no clip, pop out of there, stuff like that. Where it's useful for, and just for maintenance on my massive spike trap base without dying constantly.
Of course.
But of course, being at the mercy of your own traps is definitely a legitimate concern in quote unquote real life of the game, the IRL in game, so to speak. So like, I think part of our plan on in my game, if we can't do more so, is to eventually strike out and get you building a base, right? And then we kind of start over, right? We could still go back to mine and pick up whatever we need, but other than that, we're kind of like actually in the game way ahead of your real level. You know what I mean? And then that could be fun.
Dude, I guess to button this up.
I have questions.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, first one, talking about making houses or making structures. Can you build something from scratch, or does it have to? Okay. Because the way you described yours. All right. And we didn't talk at all about the biomes, like the different biomes.
Oh, we didn't.
Oh my God.
I know last night I heard Bill ask you like if there's any advantage or disadvantage to the different types, like harsh winter. Does that give you anything to live there or to?
All right, you got this, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are distinct biomes. It is pretty hilarious, because the borders between them are a rigid, clear line.
Okay.
And it'll be snowy, cold to the north, where the only zombies walking around out in the wilderness are lumberjacks. There is an endless supply of lumberjacks.
Okay.
In houses, it's more varied, but like, yeah, that's hilarious. And, coldness and hypothermia are real concerns.
Okay.
Below that, there is forest land, temperate, green, more variation overall, and no real weather concerns. I think it can occasionally get cold at night, but not. I think it's happened maybe once. Then there is torched land. Like everything was on fire at one point, or currently is.
Right, I do remember seeing that.
There's like as soon as you step from the grassland to the burned land, there's like a haze, like a smoky haze that envelops you, and you can't see very far. But then if you step back into the grassland, that clears and you can see straight through. It's really funny. And then there's a desert to the south of that where heat is a concern. There are snakes. And all kinds of fun stuff like that, but also really beneficial vegetables like yucca fruit and aloe vera for some of the best drinks and healing items in the game.
So there's a benefit.
Yeah.
Or there's like a...
But you have to deal with the heat.
Right.
And the heat is difficult. Not as... Basically, the cold region is the hardest, in my opinion. There may be more biomes than that. Those are the only 4 I have seen. But it's just so funny because of the rigid, like blocky borders between them. You just step over a line and suddenly you're freezing to death, and then you come back and now it's like, oh, it's sunny.
It's just
and nice.
kidding. It's like springtime.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But they serve their purposes, and you have to take them into account, because those supply drops from the airplanes, if you want them, could land anywhere on the map. And the map is huge, by the way.
So do you get a full view of the map, or like to start with?
It's clouded on the map screen until you actually go through it. There's a fog of war. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's not a super detailed map. I mean, it shows the roads and the waterways, and there's topography. There's you can see what buildings are, but not necessarily. You can see where they are, but not necessarily what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's helpful. And of course, compass markers for quests and whatnot.
So it has been a lot of fun. This has been some of my favorite. What?
I wanted you to talk about your bike experience in this game.
Oh, Jesus.
I will tell this story and then we got to wrap it up. All right. So I had died and I went back to my little apartment at your base.
We were looting, it was that high rise.
Yeah.
It was when you died during the high rise and then you warped back to my base.
And you're like, well, I could come get you. You could just take a motorcycle. I'm like, hell yeah. So I go into your motorcycle garage and there's a fucking mini bike. And I get on this thing and it sounds ridiculous. And my guy's sitting totally rigid on this my lady's sitting totally rigid on this fucking thing. And I have to go down, you guessed it, a ramp. And next to it is a shitload of spikes. And I can't figure out how to turn this thing because I'm like, is it the mouse or is it the keys? And it turns out I have to turn the mouse I can only do forward and back with the keys, but I'm like trying to turn with the W and D keys. I almost go off this ramp several times, and all Jake hears is like, you know, I have a microphone in front of me and the speaker's playing, so it works out pretty good because Jake can hear a little bit of what's going on, but all he hears is like, oh fuck, oh shit, and you're like, and I'm yucking it up because I'm almost dead in these spikes 2 kilometers away, and he's like, yo, what's going on, dude? And I'm losing it. I can barely talk for laughing so hard. I'm like, oh, you'll see, I'm just doing something stupid. And then he goes, all right, well, whatever you're doing, hit shift for turbo. And now the mini bike goes from
amazing
to and it's doing.
Surprisingly, it makes that sound perfectly fine, but the car, you know, it has to be silent.
Dude, it was so it was so perfect. Like I put a bow on my experience in this game so far as a fall down goofball driving a mini bike and it's going a little faster. Oh my god! And don't worry, I almost drove it right into a gaping hole in the ground, but I saved it. I'm just having so much fun. So I've talked a lot about how Jake and I have played together and had a really good time, and you know, like what we're going to do in the future. But I'm also doing the single person thing a little bit just to sort of get my feet under me and get a feel for the game without having somebody there to back me up. And I got to tell you, the first night when it got dark and they play that little jingle to let you know the zombos run faster and I'm hiding in a house and I can't see shit. And, you know, there's only one person on screen and everything's silent. It is fucking scary, dude.
So you can hide and like just wait it out, sort of.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm like, is that what I'm supposed to do until sunrise? So I'm like still trying to do stuff. And then, of course, these zombies come out of nowhere. I went into a house. I was like, I'll seek shelter in this house. I'll kill time in here, crafting stuff. And, of course, the zombie lady comes out and scratches my fucking face up. And I'm like, oh, no. And I'm bleeding and my leg's broken. And I'm running backwards from the zombie. And I just barely get away. And I like
you lose your leg privileges.
I'm like crafting arrows and oh dude, it was so exciting. And then I don't know what's going on. I'll have to show you, but like I like hit a rock or something to take it apart, or I'm hitting yucca plants and it just makes this horrible like and I don't actually harvest it. Very, very strange.
Were you right next to like a trader?
Yeah.
That's why. The stuff immediately around the trader's base you can't destroy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is a really good time. And I got to tell you, when I got through to that first morning, I breathed a huge sigh of relief. Mm-hmm. Like I was actively running from these zombies who were going to chomp my ass. And then it became daylight. So they slowed down a little bit and I could catch my breath. I had one. Well, anyway, that's it. I'm sure we'll have more to report. This game is a blast. Full price, I think, is $25. Don't quote me on that, but it's worth whatever.
I've definitely got my $1 per hour and then some.
Fuck yeah, especially if you got somebody to play with. But I'm thinking we're gonna have to start putting videos out, just maybe even quick ones of me falling all the time. All right, we're gonna send it to a quick break. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna cover some Jurassic Park Evolution. I don't know if you guys have anything, and then we'll probably just stick with 2 sections. We'll go right into Steam Sale. We'll call it a wrap for today.
Sounds good to me.
All right, catch you on the flip side. back, welcome back, welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
Nice.
Ooh.
So,
Satan.
So I'll touch a little bit on it. As things go, I really wanted to prepare a whole cool thing, whole big review for this game. But Christ, we just had new roommates move in, and they have dogs. And I'm in a Fitbit step challenge right now. I told 3 guys from my old job I would beat them straight up by myself. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty far behind. And so there's been some illness going around our house, and I think we finally beat it. But Genevieve slept, you probably slept
like
30 out of, you slept a whole day in a row. Mm-hmm. And then that night you slept like another 12 hours. I slept from Friday I took a 2-hour nap till like 10, was up till 2, slept until 6 p.m. the next day, was up last night, and then I slept until noon today.
Jeez.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what the hell's going on. But anyway, I keep losing time. Yeah, I'm a little sleep slut. I can't stop sleeping. So, I'm going to give you a little taste of this game. And Jurassic Park Evolution. Now, when you think of movies and video games, traditionally you think they're going to be dog shit.
Right.
Well, Lego Batman has sort of changed that. Actually, all the Lego games that are made into video game, all the Lego video games are pretty excellent, which doesn't surprise me because they're like, their fucking Legos have to be so high precision. Why not their video games, right? And then the Lord of the Rings games have been pretty good, really good. They have really good. That last Mad Max game was excellent. There was one that came out after Fury Road, and a Bridger, friend of the podcast, had it, and that was actually excellent too. So they're starting to sort of turn this around. And, you know, back in the day, you used to get movie video games in like cereal boxes or Happy Meals or something. They're like, fuck this.
Like a little, like a mini game essentially.
Yeah, load it up on your Windows 95. So this game, I didn't really have a whole lot of high expectations for, but then I heard really good reviews about it, and it was being sold at full price, like a $50 game. Ooh. Jurassic Park Evolution is not you surviving with dinosaurs. It's you running one of 5 islands with dinosaurs on them, and you're managing the park. Oh. You're managing the theme park.
Do you eventually get all 5 islands, or is it?
Yeah, I haven't unlocked them all. I've unlocked like up to the 3rd one, and I will give a pretty cool, I will give a cool mention. I mentioned something cool. I've unlocked 2 islands, and by the 3rd island that I've unlocked, it's basically a sandbox island. Oh. So it's like you don't have any missions. I don't think you have any budget restrictions. Wow. There's no weather to worry about. You just go and you build these dinosaurs, and it doesn't, I don't think you can help your other parks. Now, this game, they could have just slapped some dinosaurs in there. They say, put them in a fence and see how it goes, right? It's not that. They actually did a really nice job of modeling all these different dinosaurs. And you're given a park on the first island. It's kind of small. And what you got to do is you can build an enclosure, and you start putting like really cheap basic dinosaurs in there. In order to get more dinosaurs, you have to send excursion teams to fossil sites, and they dig up fossils with different qualities of genomes left in there. So if you have some, like one of those little grass dinosaurs that's like 8 feet tall, weighs 200 pounds or something, if you have 50% of the genome sequenced, you have a 50% chance that it'll die in incubation. And it costs $30,000 or $60,000. So it can just be money lost. Now, as you sequence more and more of it, you have a much higher chance of success. And as you go to these different dig sites, you unlock other dinosaurs the same way. So you go, you get the fossils, then you pay for the research, and then you have these new dinosaurs. And I didn't like. I watched Jurassic Park back in the day, and it was always a scary movie.
Right.
Like that's what I thought it was. I thought it was a scary thriller.
It's like a survival kind of.
Right, but I haven't read
situation.
the book, and I think that there might actually be a shitload of humor in it, because in this game, there's a lot of humor, and it's like, I don't know if you've seen Starship Troopers.
No.
Well, that movie ends up being like
I know about it.
Sort of a satire on like corporate.
I know it wasn't received very. I watched the Red Letter Media review of it. It's like it is satirical, but a lot of people took it too seriously and thought it was like celebrating fascism when in fact it's making fun of it.
Yeah. So, but they sort of do that in this game with like, they go, we'll spare any expense in the book, and then in the book the guy who says that cuts corners all the time, and that's why the dinosaurs go nuts. You can do that in this game. Now, as you're building the park, you build things for tourists, you build transportation for them to get around. If the tourists aren't happy, you don't make money. If you don't have enough variety of dinosaurs, people don't want to come and see your stuff. And like all the park management's pretty intuitive. There's like heat maps. You're like, okay, people over here really need to use the bathroom, build a bathroom. People over here are hungry, build some fast food. And as you see more success, you start to make money day to day. Now, what's interesting is that on one island, you don't transfer the money that you have pooled to another island, which is pretty cool, I think, because you could just have one island that's easier. Like the first island doesn't have weather events. When you get to the second island, you have weather events that can knock out buildings, damage them, also knock out the power. What happens when the power goes down? If you have big scary dinosaurs that are kept in by an electric fence, it's no longer electrified. So if you could take the money from your first one, that's much easier, and put it on your second one, it wouldn't be fair. But what they do is they let you go back to that island with all the money and pay to do different research. And in research, you can unlock, amongst other things, genetic alterations to fuck with the dinosaurs. So as you sequence more and more of a dinosaur's genome, you can modify more and more traits. It makes it less likely that they'll survive, but they can be different colors. They can be hardier. The other thing is they can be much more ferocious. Ooh. Now, there's a tongue-in-cheek counter in there. Like, it actually counts amongst your meat-eating dinosaurs how many other dinosaurs it's killed and how many goats it's killed, because you can feed them live goats. And there's 3 different factions within the game: science, entertainment, and security. And they all give you different missions to do. Okay. And they get really butthurt if you do other people's missions instead of theirs. And as I was poking around in the game, I found out that there's like, how happy are they? How many missions have you completed for them? Blah, blah, blah. There's also likelihood to sabotage. So if you neglect a department, they will sabotage the park, which means a dinosaur can get loose and might kill your guest. Specifically, one mission had me take down a fence and let some dinosaur, it's a herbivore, but it had spiky thumbs. They're like, yeah, let it loose in the park and let's see how fast we can respond and recapture it.
It has spiky thumbs?
It like sharp, its thumbs have like big long nails, and that's how they fight.
Okay.
So you just let a dino loose, and the guy's like, okay, cool security test, and the science lady's pissed about it. But you also build like a ranger building, and you can pay for more teams. And what they do is they go refill the food. If a dinosaur gets sick, which they do, you have to research the cure for it, or else it'll spread. Then you go and you have to tranquilize them and then treat them. You shoot them with you tranquilize them before you move them. Tranquilize them, then you call in a helicopter air unit. You have an air unit that comes in and can lift them up and take them away, especially if they're dead. And it looks ridiculous because the physics, they took away my dead Triceratops, and all it did was like articulate in the middle of its body. So it's like my first dead dinosaur. This majestic
fish out of water.
Yeah, it was like, and the helicopter's flying perfectly level, and it's going so slow.
I'm affected by this like multiple tons weighing.
Yeah, I was like, boy, it's kind of sad. Like, and I might have killed it. I think I put it in with some sort of meat eater, and I was like, let's see how it fights, and it got brutally murdered.
For science.
Yeah, and then I felt bad, but some of the missions are like, get these two dinosaurs to fight. So...
Wait, what?
Yeah, some of the missions, like the entertainment guy's like, we need a dinosaur that the crowd likes. Get them to fight. Get this guy to kill. So when they die, they'll rot. You got to fly them out. And if it's ferocious dinosaurs around, you have to go in and tranquilize all of them. Now, you can just click on the ranger team to go in and do that, and then you send in the air unit to take care of it. Or you can drive the ranger vehicle and shoot the darts at the dinosaurs yourself.
Oh, shit. What?
And then you can get in the helicopter and you can shoot them from the helicopter if you want. Huh. It's actually pretty fucking cool.
And the first, like, you actually interacting with the game, right? Because otherwise you're just kind of a top-down, like, managing the park.
Yeah, and you know what else is really neat? So they have this one attribute. It's like visibility of the dinosaurs. So you might have a big pen with all the dinosaurs, and then you have to build viewing centers, and they show you like how far you can see from there. But the neat thing of the game is you can go into those centers and see from the point of view, and you're like, oh shit, I'm looking at dinosaurs. And whenever you breed a new one, you incubate a new one, they come out and they release them from this big gate, and they do a really cool intro. They play the Jurassic Park music, and they zoom in on your big dumb dinosaur, and he's like, and then the dinosaur goes,
they missed an opportunity to make it a UFC intro.
And then they run down to the water and they drink or whatever, and the camera will follow them the whole way. Or you can switch off of it because you've seen it 100 times, and they still do that. You just see the dinosaur like come out, do its WWE intro, and there's all sorts of factors like how big the community is, how much food there is. Sometimes they're really dumb. Like I had a special Triceratops. I made it like white colored and something else, and they're like, "Are you gonna?" like feed it? And there was food all over the place. And he's like, I'm not gonna eat, fucking dummy. So I don't know what. I think I tranquilized all the other dinosaurs and put another feeder in there for this guy so he can get his shit together. So it gets goofy every once in a while. But
did he get his shit together?
He did get his shit together. He lived. But I finally had some of my first dinosaurs die of old age, which was an emotional event. But it's great. I mean, there's tons of research you can do to aesthetically change the dinosaurs. There's one you can make them more resilient. You can research new forms of transport. You can all sorts of stuff.
Out of curiosity, what's an average dinosaur lifespan? Like
80 years.
Old age? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, of course, it's like accelerated somehow because they get it all the way to the end of whatever.
Yeah, I get it. It's not an exact science.
Yeah, because you don't have little babies coming out and have 80 years of game time. But as you progress, you unlock other islands, and each one has its own thing. So I've made it to the second one, and this time you have weather. Now, your power can go down. The power generators just sometimes go down, or they can be sabotaged. Then you got to send your rangers to get it back up. And if you have a bunch of angry dinosaurs, they might eat all your people. Well, you can build shelters for them, or you could just not. It's up to you, you know? And if you might
just be a total asshole.
Yeah, if people die, you just like get sued, but nothing, I think you just keep on going. They're just like, eh.
That's why we have lawyers.
That's why we have lawyers. So they have a lot of voice actors in there, and they're all pretty good. They're a little campy, but most of the time they do a really nice job. But the most remarkable thing that I found about this game is they went ahead and they got a sound-alike for Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
Now, I wish it was El Jefe himself, because he has that je ne sais quoi, that inherent quality. That how you say quality. I speak French, in case you didn't know.
Uh-huh.
I didn't understand a word of that, so I believe you.
That's French.
He's got his pauses and his goofy inflections, and they've turned into meme after meme after meme. And if you've watched him, I have watched Jeff Goldblum recently on some Conan stuff. He's a fucking goofball now.
Yeah.
Straight up goofball.
I think it's with I guess with this movie and then with Thor Ragnarok, it's been kind of a reawakening of Jeff Goldblum.
He has reawakened something in me. So
Boom.
I will tell you this: they found a voice sound alike, and they said, "Okay, buddy, you sound like Jeff Goldblum. Now I need you to talk like him." And the sound alike went. He pauses a lot, right? And he goes, and they're like, well, I mean, there's definitely, he's like, I got it. So he sounds a lot like him, but he just fucking hammers these pauses and a lot.
That's
I'm like,
exactly how he talks. Oh, no, that's
Tim Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
So aside from that, where the guy just doesn't quite hit it and he hams it up just a little too much, and the game's fun and it has a lot of humor and it's sort of dark and there's fucking dinosaurs all over the place. And I got to tell you, all the menus are well set up. All the research systems are well set up. All the buildings are well set up. You build paths to the buildings and then you can widen them and you can do decorations, and your park makes more money if you put in like vegetation that belongs with the dinosaurs so the people like it more. It is a really, really good theme park management game. And it's got Jurassic Park dinosaurs that you can fucking stare at. It's super duper cool.
And Jeff Goldblum impersonators.
Now, I do have one dinosaur I'm just trying to get the body count up on. Do I feel guilty when I put a herbivore in there and he gets super murdered by this T-Rex lookalike? I mean, I do feel a little bad, but then I remind myself this is just a video game and he needs a body count. So I recommend it. I mean, $22 right now, you'll get your money. If you like Roller Coaster Tycoon, those kinds of park games, this is a passable entry. It's a good game. And if you like Jurassic Park and that stuff, you'll get your $20 worth. As I get further into it, I'm sure I'll find something super exciting, but like you manage everything from your monorail systems to your entertainment buildings to your viewing platforms to actually designing the pens with gates and what can trigger them to reinforcing the reliability of your power plants, because if the power goes down, it's a blast, man. I really, really dig it. I'm impressed. I'll give it, as my dad would say, I'll give it the golf clap. All right.
Couple questions.
Sure.
How much of it is like I'm trying to think, like when you're building these structures and like the monorail, do you get free range of the island to put them on, or is it like this is the path we want to do it on? You approve the project and then it gets built.
So they give you like a zone.
Okay.
Like there's, you have an area that's the park, and beyond it there's trees for effect.
Okay.
But within that space, you can do whatever you want. If you have the money, you can bulldoze all the trees, you can plant more, and then you make the monorail go wherever. But they'll give you objectives, like they'll say things like the park visitors don't like how long it takes to get to certain areas of the park. So you bring up the heat map and it shows you where it's like really red. Mm-hmm. It's like a 45-minute walk from the monorail. Right. So however you want to do it, you just got to build the monorail over there to alleviate that. And then as you expand the park, it'll be more like that. So
follow up. Has it done any weird glitchy things with that, or is it pretty good about
there was a little bit of difficulty in getting the ends of the rails to properly meet. Oftentimes I find, in like Railroad Tycoon-esque games, when you try to get into curves and have branches off of curves, the games will get themselves a little confused. And what I run into is sort of an issue with perspective. To me, my mouse is hovering directly over the end of a monorail section, but the game doesn't see it as that and it won't connect it. So what I have to do is extend it a little further. I connect it midway because it has an easier time, and then I trim off the end. Okay. Not a big deal. It's not perfect, but knowing how difficult this seems to be for games, it's it's not the worst thing in the world.
Right. It works at least.
Yeah.
It's not
it's not, I mean, it's not super critical. Like if you would probably care a lot
Yes.
And you could get it to behave because like you're very much about how things look as well. When I'm playing this game, I'm just trying to make money so I can get cooler dinosaurs and then I can genetically modify them. There's also a whole element of like selling them to other countries and something's going to blow up. I'm like, yeah. You can sell dinosaurs, but it's for like a fraction of what you paid to incubate them. So I haven't figured out why, but I think if you make them more ferocious,
they sell for more. Are people putting them, is this like countries putting dinosaurs in their military?
Dino D-Day?
This is the prequel to Dino D-Day.
I don't know, but dude, it's like, this isn't the greatest park manager I've ever played. This isn't the greatest Jurassic Park experience I've ever had. But if I was expecting a 5 out of 10, I got a solid 8. This thing has really surprised me, and I recommend it to a friend. It's listed here on instantgaming.com for $22.77. G2A, it's $17.97. You're going to get your money's worth. It's a good time.
Where's that on Steam?
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Or a group of questions, I guess.
Sure.
This one dinosaur you're trying to make extra ferocious, is that just you wanting to do that, or is it part of a mission?
Well, a part of it was like, get it a kill.
Right.
You know, have it kill one other dinosaur.
And then it has a bloodlust.
And then I was like, I want to see how this goes. But the game looks pretty great, and they do a really nice job of allowing you to take the point of view, like, look at it from inside the building, zoom up on the dinosaurs, float the camera in. And, you know, this looks like I don't know. What era do these graphics look like? Yeah.
Some gameplay.
Dude, I mean, it looks like this could have been on the 360.
Yeah, like later era 360. It was pretty solid graphics.
Actually, no, I don't know, man. This could easily be, like, if the frame rate were slightly higher, I would say Xbox One.
Yeah. It's sharp. The colors are good. And
lighting is good. It
really does look like a beautiful green jungle like paradise. And the fun thing about it is it all adds to this sinister corporate like facade, because they have like everything looks happy and bubbly, but you know that you could set it up so a bunch of people get chomped by dinosaurs. And additionally, they have all those like classic scenes that you want with like the brontosauruses standing 9 feet tall off in the distance. You can set that up and make those scenes yourself. I really like it.
Dude, the pricing here, base game, it's on sale right now, on Steam sale. No, we have to jump into that right now, but $13.49 for the base game. For the premium edition with all the bells and whistles, $37.32. Full price for that is $80. So, and there's a middle tier, the deluxe edition at $17.49. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's definitely worth a $13.49. I think I just got the basic one. Like, if you know that you like all the dinosaur stuff, like if I was going to buy a gift for Genevieve, I would get the premium edition because I know she loves those little add-ons and the extra packs. Like I've seen her play Sims and love the extra versions and stuff. But for me, I'm not in it for all the dinosaurs and all the customizability. I'm in it for like the gameplay. That $13.49 is right up my alley. Hell, I'd probably do the upsell and go for the deluxe, depending on what's in it. But
for $17.49.
Yeah, but most of the DLC in this is just more dinosaur packs, maybe more building packs. I don't know, but this is a really good game. I do recommend it to a friend. It surprises me in a lot of different ways. Now, if you're looking for something to necessarily knock your socks off, maybe not, but it is a solid entry, and I guess that's what I can say.
Back to my question about the ferocious dinosaur. You're just building up his.
Well, at one point it was a mission.
Okay.
And now after that, I've just been building it up to see what happens.
Okay.
You know, I could go on and read about it, but
now have you tried putting another carnivore in with it?
Yeah, I thought I could get a raptor to fight the big dumb mean one, but they get along. I have to put like an herbivore in there, and then.
They like team up on it.
They like panic. You put a triceratops in there, like your triceratops is panicking. It's fighting.
It warns you about the status of the dinosaurs.
Well, if you click on it, to see what it's up to. It shows you that it's panicking, and then it dies in terror, you know, as it tries to fight. And then you feel kind of bad, but you got to remember it's not real. So.
It was never real.
Yeah. So this shot that we're seeing here, it's a beautiful mountain with the sun setting in the background. This is the first island that you get to. This is the first enclosure. I recognize it because there's the gate in the middle, which you can leave open if you want a dinosaur to get out. You know, there's water where they can drink. There's the incubator pen that you can upgrade so that you can make more whacked out dinosaurs, more customized, which traditionally have a lower chance of surviving incubation, but if you upgrade it, it gets higher. And this is probably a view from a viewing building that they've installed, and then you just look through it, and this looks like a really pretty rendering of a dinosaur park. It's neat.
It's pretty.
Yeah. I like it.
It's a sunset kind of thing going on. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this does look really sharp. It's airlifting a triceratops.
And it'll be nodding on its way into oblivion. And where do they take it? I don't know. They just sail off the island.
Oh.
I've tried to watch. And then
the last island you unlock will just be a pile of dead dinosaur bodies.
Oh my God. Did I ever tell this story? I might have. I'm going to tell it, and then we're going to move on to Steam Sale. When I was younger, I went hunting in like upstate Pennsylvania, and we were on some farmer's land, and we were allowed to hunt there, but we come over this hill, and I see a little bit in the distance, black and white, like the color.
The color is black and white?
Yeah, you know, the pattern, all in a big pile. And I look closer, and I realize it's a pile of about 25 dead cows.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on there? And one of the guys who's hunting with us, he's always like, well, you got to put the dead cow somewhere. And that was the end of the conversation. We moved on. I don't know if they burned it or they just pile all dead cows.
They can't all fit in the butcher shop at once, I guess.
I think they were like
diseased
dairy cows or something, but yep, that was a startling experience.
Whoa.
But if I get to do that again, then this game will be complete. So
Jesus.
All right. We're going to move on to Steam Sale here. I think we will skip taking a break because we're getting towards the end. Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Okay.
Sales team.
Yeah.
All right.
Adele Dazim.
Okay, so we're going straight to Ace Attorney trilogy.
Yes, please.
I'm calling
curious.
my objection right now.
Okay.
Is it like a puzzle game?
This game is a meme.
Oh my God.
It's been around forever, namely because of this slide right here. Objection.
What?
It's courtroom stuff. It's like a text.
Is it a click simulator?
It is very much a click simulator.
So you don't actually do anything?
I mean, I don't know. I've never played it, but all I know is the whole objection thing goes back to the days of Kajeto-kun and his over 9,000 video and
what?
I hope my body can
over
take
9,000?
it. Like all those meme videos that dude made. Yeah, that's where I know this game from. So you are a lawyer, and what's his name? Phoenix Wright. And you
totally not.
I guess you do courtroom stuff, and you look at evidence, and you prove your case, and you object to things.
Do all the women have goggles?
Probably. Let's see. We got a video here.
Is this game relevant to you, Steam asks? Because you've played games tagged as Adventure. Great soundtrack.
Wait, this is Adventure?
So, okay, interviewing stuff. There's like little comic-y cutscenes where people give their sides of, a murder scene and how it happened.
It's
and
kind of
it's an anime, but without the animation because budget.
Oh, you're rookie attorney, Phoenix, right?
They did make sure to budget out giant jugs for all the ladies in here.
Dude, like you're looking through a room as if you're the
she looks like a cat.
Christ.
She's got her hands up like a little kitty. Oh.
Well, the kids.
There's kids.
Yeah.
And they're super happy.
So,
Avatar.
So this is essentially a playable manga about a lawyer.
They're suing the Fire Nation for attacking.
Oh my God. Is that racist? This is the trilogy on sale for $20.09. Half of the title is in kanji, and I would never buy it. However, I love the memes that this game is generating.
Overwhelmingly
Wait,
positive.
how much was it?
$20.
$20 for all three.
I don't know. If it was like in the single dollars.
I wonder if you can break it out.
If it was like $10, I think we'd have to get it. Just for the giggles and the shits.
Yeah, you can probably buy the games individually, but
okay.
What else we got?
What's Druid Stone? The Secret of the Behura Forest.
Menhir, tactical turn-based RPG from the makers of Legend of Grimrock, because I know what those are. Every action, every turn counts as you control your party of heroes through challenging, handcrafted missions in the ancient, mist-clad Menhir Forest.
Dog, this sounds right up my alley.
There's a bunch of
it looks like your sort of tactics RPG in a fantasy world.
Isometric.
Isometric movement. Looks like there are some environmental factors going on. There we go. Okay.
Ooh, almost a little bit of shell shading.
Yeah, a little bit of a cartoonish style to the art, a little bit.
This does look like it's right up your alley, Bill.
Not bad looking by any means. What am I thinking of? Dude, it looks like a turn-based Diablo.
Yeah. Dude, this is really appealing. Oh boy,
it's a nice looking game.
Druid Stone.
The artwork is nice.
So I've continued to read fantasy series, so I'm really hot and bothered for anything that looks like elves and druids and shit. So, oh boy,
$15, 40% off. Let's see,
Project Nimbus, the complete edition.
Is it Harry Pooter and his wood riding?
It looks like a mech game. High-speed mech action game set in the post-apocalyptic world. Of course, players control battle frames, humanoid battle suits armed with an arsenal of weapons. We're currently watching a demo video of a fight in the air between these mechs. It looks very fast.
It does. It's also like...
All due respect, this looks like it's running on the Dreamcast.
I don't know about that.
I mean...
It's a little sharper than that. It reminds me of Ace Combat.
Yeah.
$12 for the whole shebang. I don't know if you like mech games and you're looking for something you haven't seen before, and for some reason you haven't heard of this yet. Could be worthwhile. Let's look at mostly positive, very positive.
30% off, $12. I mean,
2017.
Is this game relevant to you?
This game doesn't look like the other things you've played in the past,
shit.
Jake.
Dude, all right, thanks, Mom. Jesus, Steam. Like, I don't know. I mean, this could be fun.
Are you feeling all right? This doesn't seem like your kind of thing.
I have a fever. I think I need to play a game I've never played before.
Oh, fuck. Look at these big, sinister Battlefleet Gothic Armada. Oh, yeah, Armada, baby.
Armada 2. Get it right.
God damn. Look at these sinister as fuck spaceships.
Space lightning.
I'm sorry, I can't not notice is this game relevant to you part now. It's just currently popular.
Currently popular. What on
you
earth?
Fucking normie. Yo,
I guess it's free to play right now.
In the Warhammer universe? What the fuck is this? 40K strategy space RTS. Well, I'm not so good at RTS stuff.
Warhammer 40,000 universe. Okay. There you go. Still know nothing about Warhammer.
Exactly.
GTA 5, $15. Do it if you haven't.
Death Garden Blood Harvest.
Death Garden Blood.
Get any more edgelord?
Unique multiplayer survival action game in which a ruthless hunter tracks and guns down scavengers. Desperate individuals trying to survive and escape the Death Garden. So this looks like if you're familiar with Elder Scrolls lore, the Hersene's hunting grounds where you're just being hunted constantly in the afterlife, except it's modern, future techie sort of thing.
But they've got a lot of that aesthetic with people wearing like giant deer skulls with huge antlers.
Yeah.
And I really like
gas
that.
Masks.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool looking.
Very, very cool looking attire.
So I guess the hunters are
future guns, running, gunning,
the deer skulls.
Jumping,
Deer
high.
souls.
Deer soul. Yep.
Okay, I see a lot of running. I'm getting a lot of
running.
Cutscene
more
vibes.
jumping.
More jumping.
Oh.
Spikes, bodies on spikes, very Fallout.
This kind of reminds me of whatever that. Oh my god, what's that game called? You played it a while ago, where you fight like classic monsters.
It is early access,
like from horror movies.
I don't remember.
$7.50 to buy, but free to play for the next 20 hours. So by the time you hear this, be long over. But.
Well, if this is Death Garden Blood, if there's a first iteration, I'd pick that up and give it a try, or at least put it on my wish list to see next time it's cheap.
$7.50 ain't bad. I mean, if is that a T-1000?
That is a T-1000.
Terminator in the game.
All of a sudden, robot.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It looks cool. I would want to do some research.
Human Fall Flat. Now, I looked at this a little bit, and it sort of activated the cringe, which means it's probably a great fucking game. But
a quirky, open-ended, physics-based puzzle platformer set in floating dreamscapes. Your goal is to find the exit of these surreal levels by solving puzzles with nothing but your wits. Local co-op for 2 players and up to 8 online for even more mayhem.
Ooh, co-op.
$7.50 half off. What's this one? Ski Lifts Fall Flat Bundle is another game, I guess.
So everything sort of controls like that one, like Climb Your Friends or whatever.
Oh yeah, you have to like
Muscleman.
manually control your limbs.
Yeah, it's like 3D quap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. 3D quap. That's a good way to put it.
This almost reminds me of that PlayStation game with the little bag puppets. What was that called?
My god, you can throw your friends around.
Oh my god.
What was that game? Puppet World.
Maybe.
Sock Monsters.
It looks fun.
If you said you wanted to buy this game and we could play it and we would play it together, I'd pick it up.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is something my speed, but it looks cute.
Yeah.
But I feel like the quirkiness might translate to really difficult mechanics to manage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's definitely sort of, if you like laughing as you and or other people constantly fuck up, this looks like the game for you. Okay. I prefer some degree of success with my challenge. I feel like I would fail miserably.
With the amount of times that I've fallen into those goddamn spikes.
This is right up your alley. Come on.
Jesus Christ.
It's meant for that kind of stuff.
All right. I think we have No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky put out a big ass release I was reading about. It's apparently been slowly marching much closer to the game that it should have been when they released it.
That's what I've been hearing as well. And at $30, if all that is true, that could easily be worthwhile. I know there are loads of people playing it now. It was just unfinished when they released it, and that's unfortunate because it killed its reputation. But it does seem in the intervening 2.5, 3 years to have turned itself around.
I tell you, I would pick up this game if it was $20. $30.
The reviews are still mixed, but I mean, it takes time because it did come out 2.5 years ago. 3 years ago.
There we go. No Man's Sky Beyond trailer. So they're still putting a ton of work into it.
Yeah, which is good. And it definitely looks nicer than it looked before.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of keeping a side eye on this game. Probably in a few years' time, I might pull the trigger on it. But I think that does it for this week's special offers. Let's see if there's anything relevant up top. There are pre-orders out for FF7 Remastered.
8.
For $20. I don't know if I'll do that, but I do kind of want to look at some of these. Oh, 8. Sorry, this is FF8 Remastered. You're right, Bill. But dude, I never finished FF8. I got all the way to the 4th disc on PS2, and then grinded the game till I was completely overpowered, and then stopped. I don't know why. So that might have to happen. I don't know about $20 though. Maybe if it comes on sale. Space Engineers, no sales up here.
Economy update. I like the sound of that.
Supergiant 10th anniversary sale now available, up to 80% off. Hades early access. This looks like some kind of weird, obscure.
Supergiant games. I'm interested.
Supergiant. I think they had this fantasy monster ball game that you played through. That was really cool. I'll poke around at it in the during the week and bring it back if I find anything good.
Oh, yeah, let's look at it.
Let's see. It says it looks like it's some kind of developer sale, but these look like...
There it is, Pyre. So you're like a 3-person team. It's $5.99. You're a 3-person team, and you're playing some sort of ball sport. And I think you click your characters around. You have like a big enforcer who can punch the other team, and you have little quick guys who are easily muck ducked. I watched two best friends play it for a bit, and it was very surprising. Not at all what I expected, but the art is really cool. Neat little narrative. There's like gameplay between the actual competitions. For $6, I think this is pretty neato burrito.
It kind of reminds me of there's another game that we watched two best friends play with the Vikings and Norsemen.
Yeah, and Bannerman. God, I gotta pick that bad boy up too.
The art style, at least.
So it's called Pyre, Pyre. Pyre is a party-based RPG from the creators of Bastion and Transistor. I've heard good things about Bastion. Lead your band of exiles to freedom through a series of mystical competitions in the campaign, or challenge a friend to a fast-paced ritual showdown in the head-to-head versus a mode. So,
I like all the artwork. I'm really digging it.
Anything else here? Transistor, Bastion.
Transistor 250, Bastion 250.
Yeah, I have Bastion.
Yeah,
God damn.
like
What'd you think of Bastion?
I haven't played it yet.
But you played Transistor or no?
Wow, this is one of those things I might pick up all these games.
I got these like they're cheap on summer sale. I think.
Dude, I might need all of these too.
All right, let's make the call, baby.
Let's call it.
G, you wanna bring us up?
Okay, so I am really interested in what we just looked at. I can't remember what the name of that publisher or
Supergiant?
Yes, Supergiant. All of the above for that. Otherwise, I think I'm gonna go with the Humans Fall Flat.
Okay.
So.
All right. I like the Supergiant stuff, and then I would give a shot to Druid Stone. Other things look kind of cool. I mean, Ace Attorney for $20 isn't quite going to do it. Gothic Armada, I stink at RTS right now. I would like to switch up the speed with something a little more lighthearted, so I'm digging it.
Death Garden Blood Harvest is probably going to take it for me.
Really?
That's my third, I think.
I'm not actually going to buy it right now, but of the ones I'm most interested to find out more about before making a purchase, that's kind of captured my attention the most. I have purchased Bastion and Transistor, however, again, have not played them yet. But at a price point like that, if I hadn't yet, I would.
Yeah. Why not?
All right.
I think that does it.
That's it, kids. Thanks again for joining us for our 80th episode.
80.
Yeah, stick with us. We'll keep putting content out there. We're getting real close to where we want to be. Everybody's life changes are finally sort of settling in. We'll keep you updated, and we're going to keep having a lot of fun. Tune in every time we have a new episode to hear me say jokes in our opening that I thought were funny and that are received like a wet fart that doesn't stink. Just kind of,
It just lingers.
But don't forget to always, but not never, McTwist, zip, zap, zoop, cock 'em, lock 'em, and rock 'em, baby. Zoop, zoop.
The chicken gun. The elusive chicken gun.
Cock gun.
Cock 'em, lock 'em, and rock 'em.
Super side salad me, baby.
Why are we still recording?
Oh.